Hello Infiniteers, we are back in Gusteau's kitchen for another episode of Toy Box Classics. And today we are going to build the back door over there, as well as the doorway to the storage room over there. And then a couple of finishing touches and we will be done with the build exercise for this toy box. Now, when I built this toy box, I followed D-Animator's layout for these doors, and I used some textures similar to his. But after reviewing the screenshots from the Ratatouille movie, I'm going to make a few changes so that my toy box better matches the movie. So here's the first screenshot. This shows the door to the produce storage room, and it is a metal door. D-Animator had what looked like a wooden door here, so we're going to change the texture on our door to match this one. You'll see there are some sunken areas on the door, as well as 3 metal hinges on the right. This screenshot shows the door, the back door, the one to the alley behind the restaurant. It's a double door, and it's made out of wood. In D-Animator's original toy box, this door was metal. So I'm going to change this one too. This shot, which we see when Remy falls into the sink, shows the back door when it's closed. And you can see that each of the double doors has a tall window in it. Now, if we go back to this screenshot, you can see that the area to the left of the back door has a round window and a sink. And in that first screenshot again, you can see that the stainless steel counter that has the sink extends all the way to the wall. The original toy box that D-Animator built does not have this counter and sink, or the round window. Instead, he built another door, similar to the one that leads to the produce storage. And I think he got the idea to do that from this shot. Now, this door is actually to the right of the back door in the movie, but since D-Animator omitted the dishwasher station that you see in the background, and so did I don't really have room for that door in that location. So the door got moved to the left of the back door in D-Animator's original layout. And since we're starting to fill up our memory, and we need to leave room for all of the logic toys and enemies and collectibles, I chose to stick with D-Animator's placement of this door. So this is what we're going to build today. And as we get started, notice the memory meter on the right is creeping into the yellow area there. And so that's what is starting to concern me a little bit. And so as we begin, let's start with the door to the produce storage. And we'll pick this piece up and put it back to get to that part of the editor. And let's come over here. And you'll notice we have 4 floor blocks wide. So in the middle of the door, we can center that on this terrain seam. And for our metal door, the theme that I want to use is the dark chrome theme. And that's this one. And we'll put one on either side of that terrain seam. And let me pull up my screen grab here. Okay. And then we're going to put 5 of these on the side. That is the height of our door. And 5 on the other side. And that frames in the door. Okay, and then we're going to leave 1, 2, 3. So the next one will come down here. And then we're going to leave 1, 2, 3. Next one will go here. We'll actually put 2 there. Okay. And then we'll come grab the floor block over here to get to that part of the drawer. And we'll use this large block wall. And we'll set this inside the door. doesn't matter which way you do this, which way you rotate it. I'll put it so that it's kind of more towards the front of the door. And there we go. There is our metal door. And it's a little bright from certain angles, but when we put the ceiling on at the end, that'll kind of tone this down a little bit. Okay, since we're right here, let's grab this piece, and we'll put the door hinges on. And for the door hinges, we're going to change the style on our block to be the metal 1 texture that we're using for the stainless steel. It's not quite what's in the movie, but I need it to stand off from the rest of the door and still look metal. So that's what we'll do. And then for the door handle, we'll use this half dome and place that there. Okay, and there is our door for the produce storage. It's kind of simplistic, but I think it looks okay. All right, the next door that we'll work on is the one over here. And let's go ahead and pick up this vertical block again. And actually, before we do that, let's go back to that part of the drawer. Since we have this texture styled, I'm going to need a couple of handles for the door. So let's put a couple of these out here, just for later. And for the other door that's going to go over here, let's stick a few of those out over here for that too. As well as another handle, just to save ourselves a little bit of time later on. Okay, now we can grab, oops, sorry for the crazy camera there. I must have pushed the wrong button on my controller. Alright, so for this door over here, we're going to place this right down on side of that block wall, not in the corner, but just out a little bit. And I want to change the theme. And we're going to use the same wooden theme that we used for the opposite wall. It's from the Ewok textures. Bright Tree Village Hut Floor. I'll set that to be my theme. And this time we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. No, 5 of these. Yeah, can't go all that way up. And I don't think that. Oh, nope. Sorry, I thought I had a smaller block on top of that, but I don't. And we'll just frame in the door. Okay. So there is our wooden door. Now let's pick this piece up and put it back to get back to that part of the drawer. And we'll start in the upper left corner. And this time the orientation does matter. We want to make sure it's not oriented that way, but that way. Okay. And that's important because we're going to want to place those door handles on top of this door when we're done. We'll put a row of those across. And then we'll put 2 of these down on either side. And 1 down the middle. Like that. Underneath that, we'll put another row of these. And then 2 rows of these larger blocks. Okay. And then we'll grab our handles here. And we'll place 1 right there. And we'll place 1 right there. And then all we need are the windows, which we'll come back and put on in a moment. I want to stay with the wooden texture because the other door over here is also going to use the wood texture. So let's pick this piece up again so we can frame that door in. And once again, look at the floor tiles. So you've basically got 3 of these big floor blocks, and then another cube off to the side of that. And so what we're going to do is place our door right here. Is that right? Just trying to decide. No, it's the next one over. So like that. Once again, it's going to be 5 of these blocks high. The base of the door will be 2 of those. And we'll put 2 of these on here this time. And what we're going to do is almost build a mirror image of that door, but with this second column of blocks, we're making it a little bit wider. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3. Drop our next line there. Next line will go at this level, and we'll put 2 of those in, like that. We'll pick that piece up, put it back to get back to that part of the drawer, and then we'll put the little insets in here. Like that. And then we'll put our hinges on. And the first one we'll put up here. The second one we will put over here. And the third one at the bottom of the door, right there. And then once again we'll use this for our door handle. That will go over here on this side of the door. And there we go. We have a wooden door. And it's the opposite of this one because I didn't want the doors to be identical to each other. So that one's a little bit wider. The hinges are a little different. It's reversed from the other one. And I think that's good. Okay, and then we need the windows. So for the windows, once again, we will use the crystal texture. It's one of the things I was hoping they would do with Disney Infinity 4.0. Of course, before they canceled it, was to make it a little bit easier to scroll through these huge lists of textures. Make it so you could favorite them or sort them somehow, or page through them instead of going one by one. But of course 4.0 was canceled, so that never happened. Okay, so there is the back door. So those are the 3 doors, and that finishes off that corner of the room. And now this is starting to look really finished. It's a full kitchen. I like this. All right, next thing we'll do, we got some finishing touches we need to put on this. One of them is the eggshells that are going to be scattered around the room. And put the first one here on this table. I did that ahead of time so I could just pick this up. The next one is going to sit over here in this back corner, about like that. The next one we'll put over here on the stove. And the next one will go over here in this corner on this stove. The next one will come over here, and we will place that here. And the next one's going to go back over this way. Okay, so there are all of the eggshells. All right, I had mentioned in an earlier episode that there was something I wanted to do for this plate. As you'll see when we get to the logic, we're going to be putting this in and this in with a replayer. And so the plates would be empty to start with, but I thought we should probably have something here so it looks like Remy's been cooking before the toy box was loaded. Or something has been happening. So we're going to place a little food item over here. And if we come over to our little pumpkin here, our jack-o'-lantern, if you go over to the left, we have this beehive. And since this is a high-end restaurant, I kind of wanted to build something here that looked high-end. And so we're going to use this little beehive to put like little pieces of food. And in the plants drawer, we have this spiral topiary, which looks like some really fancy little food thing. And so that's what we're going to put on that middle plate to start with. And when we get to the replayers, we'll put those down with a replayer as well, so that we can take those out. But for right now, we'll put that in there like that. One of the things I had forgotten last time when we built this stove was the lighting that needs to go above it. So once again, let me come over here and pick up our little flagpole piece. And I want to center this over the pot. We'll bring this straight up, make sure it's centered in the hood. And then I want to center another one on this burner. Like that. Excuse me. And then we'll come up to the Creativitoys, select our area light again, and put the light hanging off of the little flagpole, just like we have over on these stoves. So that gives us some light over here, which we need. And the other thing I forgot to do on that pot was put down a lid. So once again, we'll pick that up to get to that part of the decorations drawer. And we'll put down a lid on top of this, because it looks a little weird having the burner showing up at the bottom of the pan. So we can hide that by putting the lid on it. Okay, and I'm not really worried about that up on this one. I guess if you wanted to, you could put a lid on that. Doesn't hurt anything. Does look kind of weird having the stainless steel shelf under it. And I wouldn't worry about this one because it's a really tall pot. If the player can get in there, they can get out, because the only way to get in there is to super jump. Okay, and that, I believe, is everything. Look at that. Our kitchen looks fabulous. And in case you're wondering, when the time comes to put the ceiling on, we'll pick this up, put it back. We'll go grab the massive terrain block here. And what you're basically going to do is just use 2 of these across there to cover that up, and then just run a set of these down and cover up the rooms. So you're not going to need too many blocks to do that. And of course, we're going to use the same white world texture, frosted white world, that we used for the walls and the floor. But I'm not going to do that right now, because if I do, when I try to come out of spark mode, Stitch will end up on the ceiling, on the roof, and we don't want that. And with that, the build exercise for this toy box is done. Next time, we will begin working on the logic for this toy box, and that will probably take a couple of episodes, because I don't want to rush through it. There's a lot of logic. It's not difficult, but there's a lot of it. And there's several stages that it gets broken up into, so we're going to take our time to go through that. But until then, I want to thank you for watching, and now that you've seen the completed and revised toy box, leave a comment and let me know what you think of it. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe for more Disney Infinity toy box designs like this. That's all for me today. Have a great weekend.